Time of the bracha. Oh, the day after Tisha B'Av. So we could say L'chaim together. Yeah. A good Tavach, Shavua Tov, a good week to everybody. Welcome back. Learn the Mimer together. For understanding the difference between body and soul. The engagement between the two, and what's greater between the two, ultimately. So the purpose for exile, for darkness, is Yerida Letzorah Chaliyah. We come down to a low place in order to come up to a greater, higher place as a result. That's the purpose. So the soul itself need not come down here to be fixed. But what needs fixing down here is our body and animal soul. So there's two possibilities in the engagement of body and soul. One is, don't let the body and the animal soul impinge upon the godly soul. So every time there is a conflict between the two, which is always, if we're aware, it's always because the body always wants its self-directed pleasure, its self-directed fulfillment, and the soul wants divine connection. So there's going to be a constant conflict. So if the body is not impinging upon the soul, then the soul gets its way. And therefore, the person is always seeking divine connection. That's the first level. Second level is to actually, the soul is not only not impinged by the animal soul, but it actually refines it and elevates it to such a degree that it's turned itself also into a source of light, the animal soul and body. That takes the power of the core essence of the divine, which is beyond light and darkness. Soul is light. The body is darkness. So you need a power that's beyond them, because light and dark, either you bring in light and it pushes away the darkness, or you go into a dark room, you bring a candle, it pushes away the darkness. It didn't transform the darkness, it just pushed it away, which is the normal way, right? But then you have where the divine soul is engaged with the body and the animal soul to transform it. And the darkness turns to light. That's the power of the core essence of the divine, which brings to the ultimate fulfillment of making a dwelling place for God in this low world. You're taking the lowest of the low, right, within you, within all of us, right? That's our animal soul and body, as opposed to the divine soul in us. And the soul comes down here in order that it can fix the body and the animal soul and your portion of the world. And that is the true completion of and the purpose of making a dwelling place for God in this low world. Now, just as that is with the soul coming down into this world and its fulfillment, so likewise, meaning that the main purpose is not just to fight off the animal soul and not let it affect you, but it's to transform it, to refine it, right? So likewise, the ascent that there will be in the time to come of Mashiach is through being in exile, right? Times of Mashiach is light. Being in exile is darkness, right? The soul is light. The animal soul is, and the body is darkness, right? Vis-a-vis each other. So just like in the main ascent in our divine service is going to be found when we have the darkness turn to light, meaning the body and animal soul, that it's transformed, which we'll get more into that, what that means, right? What does it mean exactly? So right, and so the main aliyah is in the body of the person, because think of it, the body wants, right? Just wants self pleasure, self fulfillment. So the addition that's made, that the neshama makes through the darkness of exile, will be the revelation of the, well, on one hand, will be the revelation of the strength of the soul over the body, right? That even though the soul is enclosed in a body and the body is in exile, nonetheless, the neshama, as we said, is not in exile. And the addition that's made in the body, which is darkness, the darkness of the body, is likewise in exile. That, in other words, the body of the individual that's in a time of darkness of exile, both are darkness. And in that time of exile, that will be the transformation of the body, that it becomes also a source of light. It transforms into light. That's when we have completed the intent of making a dwelling place for God in this world, that there's no lower than it. What's the lowness of the world is not my spiritual being, but my physical being. And when that physical reality in the darkness of exile is now transformed to a source of light, then we truly complete the purpose of creation. That's a powerful idea. Now, let's go further and explain, what does that mean exactly? So, right now, our soul is the source of our life, right? The soul is the source of life to the body, right? What happens? What happens when a person passes away? Heaven forfend, have separation of body and soul. The soul that was animating the body is gone up, right? So the soul now nourishes the body, gives it life. In the times of Mashiach, it's going to reverse. The body will nourish the soul. Whoa. That sounds pretty awesome, right? And like, whoa, what does that mean exactly? Right? How do we understand that? It seems contrary to everything that we kind of sense and have learned. So what it means in the time to come of Mashiach, today's the day after Tisha B'Av, perfect time. Mashiach was born on Tisha B'Av. His redemption is now ready to come. So in the times of Mashiach, the neshama, the soul, the soul will have something greater that will not because through darkness. This is an important point. Actually ties in with what we learned last night in Torah studies. Yeah. The neshama, its greatness, the soul, its greatness will be not because it got through the darkness and the darkness didn't hold me back. My soul is superior to that darkness in my life, and the darkness out there, or the darkness in me, of my body and animal soul. But on the contrary, the addition that will come to the soul will come from the darkness itself. Ooh. Darkness itself will be the source of light. Whoa. Now, even though this addition to the soul will mainly be by the body, right? It'll be because the body, by definition, is darkness, right? When we say the body, we mean the nature of the body. The nature of the body is taking up space. The nature of the body is self-absorption, seeking comfort, seeking pleasure. That's the nature of the body. Right? Well, in the time to come, Mashiach, the nature of body won't be that because it won't be darkness. That darkness itself will be, as we're saying, the source of nourishment, even to the soul. Right now, the soul. Now, so the main thing is the body's going to get this power, right? Because that darkness itself becomes the source of light. The body, again, darkness. Again, as we explain, why is it darkness? Not because the body's evil. The nature of the body takes up space. It's a heavy weight. It is self-absorbed, seeking its own comfort, its own pleasure. That's the nature of the body. Imagine that it's going to be transformed. It's now not going to be that darkness. It's going to be a source of light. But it'll be a source of light, not just itself, but it'll be a source of light for the soul, to give the soul. So now, this comes because the soul, it is refining the body, right? The soul wants connection. The body wants to take for itself, right? Yesterday, I was hungry on my fast. My body wanted to take for itself food. My body had no sensibility of someone else's hunger. Not my body. My soul, yes. My body, no. But the soul that refines the body to the degree that the soul, it too becomes refined to such a level that it too wants godliness. It too wants connection. Wow. So the main thing that it will do is create the connection, the soul, by refining the body. That the body too, and the animal soul, it too wants connection. That's so mainly it's within the body, but it will also affect the soul. That it will be nourished through that, through the body now also desiring divine connection as opposed to self-absorption. And when self-absorption here, that's the nature of the body. We're not, we've got to call it what it is, right? And recognize it. And that's the way we were made. But through our divine service, so the soul now brings that desire to the body and animal soul. And with this, then, as King Solomon says in the Song of Songs, Mashkeni acharecha nerutza, that draw me after you and we will run. We in the plural. Who's the we? There's a metaphor for our relationship with God, that through the godly soul, that it affects the animal soul and body, that the animal soul too has a love of God, not love of self. Whoa. And that love of the animal soul is in a manner of merutza, that it's chasing. That it's chasing God. Now, here's the kicker. The divine soul isn't chasing God because it's connected. But here, because of the animal soul, it is desiring and therefore seeking and chasing for godliness. It affects now the divine soul in us, that it too is chasing after God. And that's why it's in plural. But now, since the soul is the giver and the body is the recipient, it's not complete. Wow. In other words, today we could inspire our animal nature that it too wants godliness. It too wants divine connection. However, that inspiration is not going to be complete because it's always the soul that's going to have to inspire the body. We refine it, but it's not refined completely. And therefore, we always need the engagement of the divine soul, that it's the giver of the divine connection or the divine desire, and brings our animal nature that it too wants to have a divine connection and therefore runs for it. and even affects the divine soul, that it too runs for more godliness. But it's not complete now. That completion will be only the times of Mashiach. And at that time, the phrase that we used, the body will then feed and have the effect on the soul. Right now, it's only the soul on the body. And the soul on the body can bring the animal soul in the body, it too wants the divine connection, but it needs a constant engagement of the divine soul because it's not complete. In the time to come, it'll be so complete that the body will be so refined that it will be the source of light and feed then and affect then, from its divine perspective, the soul. Wow. Okay. Tomorrow, chapter 7. Amazing. Whoa. I hope I explained that well, because this is really powerful. Um, Extremely powerful ideas, lofty, and